If you're a busy mom of little kids trying to balance that with running an online business from home through all of the chaos and constant interruptions, I see you and I'm here to help. Stick around because today that's exactly what I'm going to be talking about. 5 ways to continue to run your business even if you're constantly being interrupted by your little kids. Hi, I'm Andrea Fry of sparklewithgrace.com and welcome to the Productive Biz Mom. I am so excited to chat all things productivity and mom life with you here. Now, I'm a mom of 3 kids under age 5, so I am no stranger to the chaos and the constant interruptions. If your kids are a little bit older, you may not have all of the same struggles that I'm going to talk about in this video, but stick around because I think you're still going to get some really helpful advice. Okay, let's dive right in. So, if you have little kids like I do, you can't actually send them off into a different room, close the door, sit behind your chair in your office, and get to work. That's just not practical and honestly not safe, especially if you have a crazy climbing 1-year-old like I do. So, what on earth are you supposed to do so you can get work done and manage all these interruptions? All right, so the first thing we're going to talk about is expecting the interruption. I know it sounds obvious, but you would be surprised how much just this one little shift is going to help you. So, we know when we sit down, open our computer, somebody's going to suddenly have unquenchable thirst and need some water right now, or someone hit somebody in the head with a toy and all chaos ensues pretty much simultaneously when you start to work. So, the first step is expecting that interruption. When you know it's coming, you're not so frustrated by it and you're not so surprised by it. So, if you're in the zone and you're working and you get interrupted, it's easy to snap and be like, hey, I'm just trying to finish something. Can you just calm down or wait a minute or give me 5 more minutes? But that's coming from a place of wanting to get work done and not wanting to be interrupted or expecting not to get interrupted. That is not reality, especially mom life with little kids. So once you kind of anticipate that that's going to happen, you know it's coming, you're not going to have to blow up and get as frustrated. But what you do need to do is number 2, finish your thought first. So when somebody comes up to interrupt me, especially my daughter who is almost 5 and constantly thirsty for milk, she will come up to me and say, Mom, I need some milk. I need some milk. And I will just look at her and say, honey, I will get you that milk in just a minute. Please let me finish what I'm doing. And I try not to drag it on. And this is the key. If you're going to be one of those 5 more minutes, 1 more minute, and drag it on and on and on, they're going to get frustrated. And honestly, they're going to get more interruptive because they're just trying to get your attention. So I will just take a minute to write down where I'm leaving off. So if I'm physically typing something, I'm going to finish typing the sentence because mom life, as soon as you switch gears, you completely forgot what you were doing. And that is definitely not helping your productivity. So take a minute, jot down where you're leaving off, finish the sentence that you're working on, or whatever you need to do to give yourself a flag of exactly where you left off. So that way, after you address the interruption, you can sit back down and get right back into it and not waste any more time trying to remember what on earth you were doing. Okay, that brings us to tip number 3, and that is to have a signal. So if you are having little kids, and especially when you can't close your office door, things like that, have a signal for your kids to know or understand that you're working. Now, this is not going to guarantee they won't interrupt you, but it is important to start instilling this so that they can get used to the idea. So one thing that I've done before that's been pretty fun and effective is wearing a silly hat. So when mommy's wearing this hat, that means she's working. Please don't interrupt me. And then I also teach them, you can always interrupt me for an emergency. And if you are going to come interrupt me, instead of screaming in my face, I need something, calmly say, hey, mom, can I chat with you for a second or do you need a minute? And that has been super helpful, especially with my almost 5-year-old, because that is a way that I then don't get that stress response and that anxiety of being interrupted and like jarred out of what I'm doing. So if you haven't done that before, I'd highly recommend create some sort of a signal. So if you have really little kids, putting on a silly hat or a certain headband. If your kids are a little bit older or they can read, you can even have a little sign that you put out next to your desk or on your chair or something that will kind of signal to them so they at least can see that you're working, and try to make that decision when they're old enough to understand of whether or not they need immediate help right now or if they can wait another minute. All right, time for tip number 4. Stop trying to do work that requires all of your focus during times that you're going to keep getting interrupted. So I like to recommend that you choose tasks that you work on throughout the day that are not that big of a deal if you get interrupted. Now, obviously, deadlines, if things can't be helped and you just need to make it work, that's fine. But try not to let that be the habit all the time. So, for example, if I'm sitting down to record YouTube videos or write blog posts, those are tasks that I seriously cannot do if I'm being interrupted. If one of my kids opens the door right now and starts screaming, I have to scrap this whole video. So, this is not a good task to do when you really can't be interrupted. Save this kind of work for your focus time. So, for me, that's either when my kids are sleeping or when I have somebody around to help and take them to the park or things like that. Now, if you're really desperate, I am not against screen time. I just advocate that you use screen time strategically, and only when you really, really need it, if you're trying to use it as a way to help keep your kids from interrupting you. We'll talk about that all a little bit more in another video. But for now, let's move right along to tip number 5. And that is to spend intentional time with your kids when you're not working. So it's really easy for us to be in work mode and then switch into mom mode, which then is actually household mode. So, finishing up the dishes, doing loads of laundry, making lunch, making dinner, cleaning up from lunch, cleaning up from dinner, all of those kinds of things. And we're just go, 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 and doing all these things, which are part of being a mom, are part of running a business, are part of running a household. That's fine. But our kids really need to get some one-on-one, or even in a group if you have more than one kid, attention where you're focused on them and interacting and engaging with them, coloring with them, doing their favorite activity, playing, whatever that looks like for you. Going for walks, taking them to the park. Just try to find something that you can do very intentionally and make it a big deal. Make a big deal about the fact that this is the time that we are going to hang out, and it doesn't have to be hours and hours and hours. I'm not telling you you can't go do housework around the house or do things that need to get done, but take some time, however long you want, and make a big deal about spending it one-on-one very intentionally with your kids where you focus on them. So put away your phone, turn off all those notifications, and then just really spend that time focusing on your kid. That's going to help them feel like they have your attention, and they're going to be less likely to be interrupting and bouncing around when you're trying to focus on things at another time. All right, I hope you found these 5 tips super helpful. Go ahead and like this video and hit subscribe to the Productive Biz Mom channel here on YouTube, because I have so much great stuff coming for you. All right, I'll talk to you soon. Bye.